Good morning, Florida.
Good morning, Florida. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Whew, this East Coast waking up stuff is...
I know, I did wake up. I went to bed early, but I woke up at like 4:45, 4:30 Vancouver time.
No. Which is the time you'd be going to bed.
Yeah. I hear Johnny Hansen was running around shirtless.
What are you talking about? I was with you.
No, you were shirtless.
I mean, I was. But they don't know that.
So I was with Ackles when he found out, and I was like, yeah, if I had a 45 pack, I probably wouldn't own shirts. Much less wear them ever. Who got to witness that? Who heard about it and then beeline straight there? Yeah. For sure.
All for the cause.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
Anything we can do to
We have your
Matt to take his shirt off. It's been a year in the making just to get that album put together so that Matt would take his shirt off. That's, you're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you indeed. Thank you indeed.
It was like one of those slow play pranks that like Clooney's famous for. It's like, you wrote an album? Take it? Yeah, and it took a year. And he took his shirt off. Mission accomplished. You can throw the rest of those albums in the trash. We don't need them anymore. We're good.
It's good to see you guys again. Sorry that I missed you in DC.
We love you.
Yeah, I love you back. Thank you. Yeah, shit happens. Thank you. It's warm up here. So
You should take your jacket off. And he's back.
what? That's it. No, yes. I'm putting my jacket back on. True story. I was cleaning my trailer, which is kind of sad, bittersweet. But I was like, well, you know, we're halfway through the season. I'm going to start cleaning my trailer this past week, and I came across this shirt, and I was like, I have to. Unfortunately, it was a shirt that a fan had given me for Genevieve, so it's a medium. So I put it on this morning, and Jensen goes, "Did you roll your sleeves up?"
Well, that's the most impressive, is that it took him all weekend to sew his sleeves into that position.
Just sitting there like, I'll be right there.
Cliff's like, hey, that shirt's bigger than the one you normally wear. It actually covers your torso. Do you need help?
Look, I do. I'm not, it's been a while. Sure.
You just unwrote so much fanfic.
All right.
I just wanted to know if Dean and Cass will ever have the profound bonding.
I'm gonna need to hear the rest of the question, folks.
You mean on camera?
The profound bonding that they had
In the
prior to their domestic dispute.
Will they ever influence each other?
And what's your safe word?
The characters work out the rift between them. There's a scene actually coming up. I think I mentioned this. Might have been at DC, but there's a scene that comes up in the next. Is it? Yeah, in episode 9, where Dean kind of explains his position and why has had so much trouble with that relationship. So hopefully that will shed some light and mend some, bruised egos.
There will be profound bondage then.
See, bondage and bonding and bondo are 3 different things.
That was Misha's.
That was Misha's. Oh,
Bondo?
See, I was the profound bondo, and there's a scene with profound bondo, and that's just fixing up baby. So
Fixing up Misha.
fixing up Misha, just smacking some bondo.
You did say a safe word was Impala.
He's not holding together too well. So. Okay.
What was your favorite class in high school? What was your best class in high school? And what was the one class in high school you wish you had paid more attention to?
I pretty much was answering that as you were asking. So, favorite was would have been math. I would just because it was something that I was good at and it was easy. The answers you do the problem, the answer's right there. The one I had the most difficulty in, wasn't that the first one?
Your favorite?
Favorite?
Your best, which I guess would be the math, and
Okay.
then the one that you'd spent you wish you'd
Well,
spent more
okay.
attention
So
to.
let me go back. So my favorite, I would say, would have been English because she was one of my favorite teachers of all time. Although it was the most difficult subject that I had. I had the worst grades, but it was my favorite teacher, so I enjoyed that. The best was math because I always had my highest grades in math, and the one I wish I paid more attention to was history. Because I love history now, but then I was just like, who cares? And history's fascinating, I think. And so, are you a history teacher? There you go. Will you tell all your students that that's the one subject I wish I'd paid more attention to?
Yeah, I loved history. Funny enough, I was thinking my favorite might have been, I had some great English teachers and history teachers. I don't know if I can decide between the 2 of them. My best class was math. The one I wish I paid more attention to was Spanish. Yeah, I sort of did enough to get by, but I wish I paid attention and I wish I was more fluent. I didn't realize I'd have the chance to travel so much as part of my job. So now I wish I could communicate better in foreign lands. My worst one was biology. Is anybody a biology teacher? Are you really? Yeah, for some reason. I was good at chemistry because it was almost mathematics and physics. But biology just got me for some reason. Good for you. I mean that sounded like, good for you. But I meant it like, good for you. That's impressive. Yeah. Not worthy.
My question for you is, what kind of skills have you learned being Sam and Dean, like cracking computers and breaking into things?
I have not. I realize that I don't know how to pickpocket out of handcuffs. So that's kind of turned. Is that what you were saying?
Well, I wanted to know what you learned, that way you couldn't do it. Like kicking in doors and things like that.
Got that one down.
I don't know.
I feel like there's several things that I've either brushed up on, honed, or learned from playing this character. Sure, how to properly kick in a door. That one, I got that one down. There was actually picking a lock. It would take me an hour to do it compared to the 2.5 seconds that it takes Dean to do it. But I have worked, there's locking mechanisms that you can get online. One of our crew members had one it's a clear mechanism, so you can see the workings inside and you can actually practice. And I played with that for like a whole day and was like, oh, got it. But it's frustrating because it takes a long time, which is when the door kicking thing comes into play. It's much faster. And more gratifying too. Knife throwing.
Ooh, that's fun.
For all the times you need to
For all the times that I need to throw knives.
Computer hacking?
And
Taking a punch.
stunt driving, weapons handling. And I'm going to say something and it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler alert, but dancing. There were several people that went. As in dancing? What? Yeah, wait for that one.
I don't know if I've learned anything practical. I think maybe dad voice or something. Having to play different versions of Sam, I'm able to kind of hop into dad mode. Yeah, the other day Odette was singing herself to sleep and self-soothing, and it was she was singing these lyrics: "You have blood on your face, you big disgrace." And she kept doing it. It was really
Yeah,
cool.
she's a Padalecki, all right.
Blood on your face, you big disgrace. And she was like, "Mom, play You Big Disgrace on your phone." And it was like 9:30 p.m. and she had been up late. She had some friends over. And Jen's like, "Odette, it's time to go to sleep, baby girl." And then there's a little pause, and Odette just goes, "Blah blah blah," which was amazing. Dog, it's time to sleep. So trying to hide my joy. Odette trying to get under Mama's skin. Other than that, I don't know.
But that's just the nature of our show. So there you go.
Are they bringing a microphone?
Sure. I've got one.
First off, why isn't it Sam Steele?
Sam's deal?
Sam Steele.
They were talking about the bonding.
Sam has better taste.
Dean has no taste, clearly.
How much fun are you having revisiting all the Evil Sam and the other worlds, and that Matrix opening, the one you directed, was amazing.
Thank
And how much fun is it to revisit all these old versions that you've played of yourself?
Well, you couldn't fit in the white suit, could you?
It was too big.
It was too big.
Yeah. I was working out a lot 10 years ago.
Because you were really overweight 10 years ago. That's why.
I wasn't running marathons, so I was a little heavier. A lot of fun. It's kind of bittersweet, because we sort of know what's going on and what's going to happen, and we start episode 11 a week from tomorrow. No, episode 12. Jesus, we're already Chuck. We're already 11 episodes done. So it's bittersweet, we're over the hump and trying to take this show and these characters home. It's fun to revisit, and it feels like an homage to y'all guys as well, to be able to go out and I haven't learned how to deal with the microphone.
Why we can't have nice things?
Yeah, it's a good time. I think it's a testament to this family at large. And to the show and what the show means, that we get to go do something and play a character we played 11 years ago or 12 years ago or more. Man, you get to do some fun stuff. Has that heard yet?
What?
Nothing?
I didn't. What was the question?
The old prior versions of yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not playing prior versions of myself. I'm just.
You did.
I mean, ish. For a half a second. Yeah, there is. I think this season they're kind of pulling out all the hits. It's a bit of the greatest hits album, and and with some new ideas too, like I mentioned earlier. And it is fun it's always fun to kind of break down those character walls and do something different, or take yourself out of the kind of the comfort zone that you're in. And I feel like we're doing that a lot this season, and I feel like it's fun, but it's weighted, because it does feel like the writers are getting in as much as they can before it's done.
Yeah.
And even though it's fun, it's kind of sad at the same time. But you don't want to do that.
I was totally kidding about Sam Steele, I swear.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Watching the opening scene of Profit and Loss, where Dean is in the box at the bottom of the ocean, that just hit me to the core. I couldn't breathe while watching that. Do you guys ever get in a situation, like in small spaces or anything, where you're just like, okay, this is giving me the creeps and I can't do this?
That was last year, right?
Yeah. That scene in particular was, it was a few things. It was obviously being in a very, very tight spot. And what had happened was that when they lowered that lid, there was just a small space that was cut out of one side of the box for the camera to see. But behind the camera was all blacked out because they didn't want to have any light breaching into the box. So the only light source was the phone. And so from my perspective, I was in a box and it was pitch black. And then trying to go there mentally of what would this be like, and thinking, crying for help. You're essentially telling yourself that it's real, as opposed to most people do. If they get confined into a spot like that, they try to tell themselves that it's fine, everything's fine, I'm gonna get right out of here, and you try to soothe yourself. I'm doing the complete opposite. And it was one of those, there's scenes that pop up every now and again where you kind of have to walk off when they're over, because your body's shaking, or you're emotional, or it was a close call, or whatever it is. And that was one of those that I kind of had to take a moment and bring myself back to reality, that it's just fake, this isn't real, calm down. I did it after the scene. Yeah, during the scene it was very real to me.
I think the most uncomfortable I've ever been wasn't even really the bugs episode with the bees, though that was disconcerting. It was the one, I think it was called Heaven and Hell, where it's Alistair and Sam and Dean jump through the stained glass window.
Yeah.
Because they would stand us up and show us the pads, and then they'd put the stained glass window in so you couldn't see, and it was, they're not going to play a prank on you and not have the pads there. But you're still like, I'm jumping through something it's not exactly opaque, it lets light in, but it's very translucent, you can't see in what's on the opposite side. So, and they're sort of, there were crossbars that were foam and painted to look like wood, but still they're more firm, so they could provide structure. And so that was a bit, all right, here we go. And we were high enough to reach the free fall point, because we propelled ourselves, and then after, 8 or 9 feet, you're just falling straight down, and that weightless sensation. That was probably the least comfortable.
The beginning of season 4, when Dean climbs out of hell. So that actual shot of me coming out of the earth, that was not on a soundstage. That was actual. They had dug a big hole in a field.
Wow.
And built like this little tiny wooden box under the ground with an entrance to it that was a little, maybe 5 feet back. So the hatch would open, I climbed down underneath, they would close the hatch, cover it back up with sod, tamp it all down. And keep in mind, this was, July.
Oh my God.
And it's 80 degrees in Vancouver in July. And in a box with no ventilation whatsoever, that's completely dark, and it was probably 120 degrees in there. So I'm just sitting there, just starting to sweat for 2 reasons. One, it's hot. For 3 reasons, I'm underground in a box, and no one can hear me. And I'm having to wait for the crew and everybody to run away because it's a big, giant crane shot. So they're gonna see, you know, for quite a distance. So everybody's got to clear back. So I'm just sitting there waiting until I hear over this, you know, big bullhorn, Kim Manners yell action. And I just remember going like, what have I done in my life that has led me to this place?
Who'd like piss off?
Who did I anger? That was uncomfortable. I didn't like that. And then now I'm all sweaty and I literally have to crawl through about this much of actual dirt and sod. Because it was they cut a hole, you know, about that big and laid neoprene, like overlapped it so that it was like I had to like get myself through it and then get through all the dirt and the weeds and stuff that they packed on it. So it was just clinging to my face and everything. It was, yeah, I was not happy about that.
So first off, I used to live in Boston, and I saw you run the marathon, and even though you were literally running a marathon, you stopped to say hi and take pictures and thank us for waiting in the rain, and you were literally running a marathon, so thank you, and congratulations.
Any excuse to stop while you're running a marathon, I think, is the key here.
Yeah, I would walk up to people who had no idea and be like, thanks for coming. It means a lot that you're here.
He takes off, they're like, who the hell?
So my question is, why I'm wearing the dress. I work at Disney World now that I graduated. I'm basically like a Cliff, but for Mickey Mouse. I'm like an attendant and a handler.
All right.
You're
the Mickey Mouse handler.
Yeah, basically. Get out of here. So my question is either from your childhood or from your kids' childhood, do you have a favorite memory of going to Disney World or Disneyland? And if you haven't been, do you have just a favorite memory of watching a movie, playing dress up, anything like that?
Yeah, I do. I went to Disney World, I think, with my family and my mom's parents. I think I was around 10 years old, and so this was, you know, let's say 1990. Before cell phones and pagers and all that. And right when we got into, I think it was either Epcot or Disney World, I got separated. My brother and I were with our grandfather, and I think I went to the bathroom or something. I probably got distracted and went to a video game or whatever it was. Couldn't locate them. And so I looked for, I don't know how long, 5-10 minutes, and couldn't find them. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna walk around and just kind of, and it was middle of the summer, packed. I ended up getting on the monorail, and like, it was like maybe 10. And I didn't really know, I left that park on the monorail and went to MG, whatever it was. Yeah, you know, and so they couldn't find me, and I guess they were making announcements, you know, Jared Padalecki, Papa came, whatever, your grandfather's waiting, but I was no longer in that park, and they were monorail elsewhere. That's another thing. It's a funny, what happened afterwards. So, long story short, it's now the end of the day, you watch the fireworks or whatever, and I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna leave. And so I go back to the park we were at and start walking out, and my grandfather is just sitting on the bench right by the exit. He had just been waiting there all day. Yeah. So then because we were there for like 3 or 4 days, so we went to the next park the next day, I had the little, like, put on that wasn't my idea. I'd walk and like, oh, no.
I still use that with him on sets sometimes.
True story. Yeah, that's my most memorable experience.
I went to Disney World once or twice as a kid, and you know, nothing crazy experience like that. Like, it was just a good, solid family vacation. When I was a little bit older and working on a show called Days of Our Lives, my family was like, we're going to go to Disney World, and we want you to fly over and meet us, because they're living in Texas, I was in California. So I said, okay. So Deidre Hall, who played Marlena, was my mom on the show. She came to me and she says, I understand you're going to Disney World. And I was like, yeah, I'm going. It was a little family vacation. And, you know, we were on a budget and we were staying at, you know, a budget hotel and my dad had found tickets. And so we were just gonna go normally like most people would go. And she goes, not my son. So Deidre Hall calls her contact at Disney World, and the next thing I know, they have put us in the presidential suite of one of the hotels, and they probably the Floridian, yeah, and they have a parade for me. I'm like year one on this show, and I'm like 19 years old, and I'm in the back of this like convertible going through one of the parts of Disney World. My brother and my sister are in the car with me, and I'm sitting up on the top like, and my name is like written across the side of the car. It's like Jensen Ackles from Days of Our Lives, and we're cruising through, and nobody was like, there he is. Everybody was like, who the hell?
You should have pulled the Roddy Carrington. Ask for a wrench.
Oh yeah, just hold a wrench.
Just here to fix some stuff.
Yeah, just gonna fix.
Here to
yeah,
fix
you can't do that when you're in a parade and you're the only one that's sitting up doing this. And I just remember going like, wow, this is really embarrassing, but equally awesome. Because we got like the royal treatment, and that was the last time I ever went to Disney World. Because I was like, well, doesn't get any better than that. I'm out. So that was pretty great. What are we drinking in our coffee here?
Jackson.
This is a black Americano, which is espresso and water. For those who don't know.
That's not fun.
That's not fun? Would you prefer pumpkin spice latte? Some lavender creme brulee crap? Well, you can keep that. I'm going to drink black coffee.
You can't do that after Halloween. Mine is a
Fine, there's a little whiskey in it too, okay? Is that what you wanted? Just a little, just enough to get me through breakfast.
Mine's a Diet Dr. Pepper. Let's hear it for Diet Dr. Pepper.
See, back when he played Lucifer the first time, he was drinking regular Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
But now that he runs marathons, Diet. All right, guys, thanks. We'll see you in a little bit.